Stratton, and I've really developed a good group of people out there that are, checking in with us, asking questions. We've got a lot of free material we can send out to people if you're interested in what we say on this broadcast, and if you're interested in asking questions and dialoguing. I think the important piece that I want to get across this morning is about the importance of intentionally looking to get stronger, looking to develop in 2024. A lot of people will set goals for weight loss, for example. They'll set goals for maybe learning a language or developing critical thinking skills or other aspects of just personal development. But it's important that you kind of work on uh, the, I guess I would call it the lubrication in the system, how you think and what you think about, and how you purpose to do things on a daily basis. And so today I'm going to kind of speak to that and talk about uh, the first thought that you might want to put at the top of your day. And it really, you're asking yourself the question, why am I doing anything? Why am I desiring to be stronger? Why am I desiring to be more energetic, more capable, more available, more in the moment? you know, and so more present, I guess the way it would be. And so why? And so the answer to that question for me, and I'm going to suggest that it be the answer to that question for you, is that you want to help other people. And in helping other people, you then actually help yourself in the sense that you discover that you actually can do what you think you can do, and you can be who you think you actually are, and that through serving, you display those skills, you display those characteristics, and you display those character aspects, character traits, character strengths, right? So I always tell people, you can't give away what you don't have. And then the corollary to that is if you're not giving it away, you probably don't have it. You probably don't have it. So people ask me from time to time, you know, how how do you lead? How do you frame things? How do you set these things up? And it's all really about how you order your thoughts and how you make those early decisions uh, as you prioritize your day. When I wake up in the morning, I watch what I'm thinking about. I'm 64 years old now. I'm an old football player. Um, when I wake up in the morning, it wouldn't be difficult for me to do first thing an inventory on my creaky bones, right? I mean, I can go through, how are my knees doing? How are my ankles doing? How are my hands doing? My shoulders. If I want to just run an inventory of how do I feel? How do I feel physically? But that's not my first thought when I wake up. My first thought when I wake up is, who who you know am I serving today? Who uh, do I have to? Who's waiting on me for a decision? Who is uh, out there? And that goes from my schedule falls into that. What do I have on my schedule today? For example, yesterday I spoke to, all the members of the staff of a company, and I serve them. And we're setting personal, professional, and company goals for that law firm. And as we walk through that process, I'm listening very careful to make sure the company is served, but not first and foremost. Every individual in that company is heard and served according to their, I guess I would call it, preferred learning style. That's true service. Now you're thinking, how do I serve someone? How do I bless someone? That first question, how, is not that I go to you know, an easy to, like go to a book that I can pick up at Barnes and Noble or whatever, and I just get 10 steps in organization or 10 steps in collaboration, or, it's not like I can take a class. I have to listen to that person and then make sure that they learn, make sure that that person is served. So the first thing on my mind is, first of all, I go to my source, which is God, and then I come back and I check out, make sure I'm aligned, and then my first priority is my wife, and then my daughter and her husband and my grandson, and then my church, right? And those people. And then I have close friends who I consult for, and they were companies to start with, they were business people to start with, but now they're close friends, because when I consult, I serve the whole person. I believe that relationships, people, are more important than relationships trump transactions, and people are more important than profits. And that if I focus that way, that those relationships, then there's a long-term effect that is far more impactful, far more sustainable, far more enjoyable, because there's something in it that is faithful. There's something in it that is consistent. There's something in it that is truly a life source. One of my sadnesses is when I meet people who can't pay attention anymore. They're so used to being on their phones. They're so used to, working their remote control on their televisions, that they have addicted themselves to momentarily titillation, momentary enjoyments, right? So that they can't really appreciate a long-term development, something that takes weeks, something that takes years, something that takes decades. They don't have an appreciation for it. They don't want anything to do with it. And therefore, it starts to really, they don't realize it, but it starts to get back to the point where they can't even pay attention for an entire thought or an entire sentence. And it really gets to a place where there's a sadness to it, because then they start redefining their world in short little snapshots. Love to them isn't faithful. Love to them is just a quick hit. It's not truly satisfying, generationally. And so when I think about the joy of serving someone, and when I think about what that means to me, yesterday I was woken up, I believe, by the Lord in the middle of the night, and he began to talk to me about organization and creating a template for my clients, creating a template for my congregation, and just really talking about how may I serve you? How can I do better? And then opening myself up, because I've been doing this for a while, to criticism, opening myself up to comments, to actually, have that answer come back. If you ask somebody, how can I do better? You might get some criticism. You might get some feedback. But if your goal is to truly serve, if your goal is to truly help, then what you're constantly going to be rewarded, because in order to truly serve and to truly help, you have to bring information, you have to bring processes, protocols, procedures, organizational structures so that people can discipline their lives so that they can put into their lives kind of a step-by-step approach to progress, to development. And so in order for you to give that to someone, you have to have it. Otherwise you find yourself in a situation where people are asking you questions and you're like humming, and people can tell when you're making stuff up and when you're just spitballing or you're just, you know, talking nonsense. You just word salad after word salad. And so the concept that I want to get through to you today is wake up with the why you do things. And then that why should translate automatically to who. Why do I do what I do? Who am I doing it for? Wow. I didn't think I would go to this thought. As I finish up every year, and this might be a little deep for this group, so I'm just going to kind of roll it out there and be a little bit courageous with it. But as I came into the last 5 years, I've received kind of a guiding word for every year. And I want you to think about this for a minute. We're going to start in 2019. I believe, this is something that, you may not believe this, you may not, you like to listen to me, but you don't want to hear all the spiritual stuff. But I believe that God speaks to people. I believe that he's good all the time. I believe that he's smarter than me all the time. And I believe that he speaks to me all the time. So I'm always looking for and believing for direction from God. And it doesn't always come from a book that I purpose to read or that I have on my reading list. A lot of times it'll come from God speaking to someone else about me who believes that God speaks. And then they speak to me. They say, hey, the Lord said to me, Dan, in 2019, Kenneth Copeland said to me, Dan, you're going to come to know me in a deeper level. Talking about God. You're going to come to know God on a deeper level. You've known me as the healer. You've known me as the provider, the protector. But now you're going to know me as the resurrection. And I thought, wow, that's powerful. So that began to direct the way that I think. And so that, I allowed that word to come into my heart. I have to receive in order to give, right? You have to develop it and have something before you can give it away, but then you have to give it away to know that you have it, to serve it. So you have to allow yourself to be served in order to serve. So I received that. I began to study that out. And that was 2019. And it was a reminder to me as I studied something out that things were going to die, but then there's the power of the resurrection. That no matter how bad things are, the corruptible can become incorruptible. The dead will be raised to life, right? The mortal will move to immortality. There's a joy that comes through. There's a crucible that you go through. There's a purging. There's a pruning that you go through. So when you understand that press of that, then you can go through some tough things. And then if you remember, that was 2019. Then you go into 2020. That was the year of that tough election. It was also the year of the pandemic. And the Lord gave me another word, which was clarity, efficiency, productivity, growth, and promotion. Doesn't seem like one word, but it kept me aligned with constantly looking for what is true and stay clear, because there was so much gaslighting going on, so much information that was put out there as truth that just was, made up nonsense on a whole bunch of levels. And some of it was intentional, some of it was done with good faith, but a lot of silliness out there. And so we walked through that. 2021, we were given victory, freedom, joy, and fulfillment. And 2021 was the year, January 6th, was a year of more pandemic. And it kept me focused. And I'm telling you all this because as we came into 2024 now, 2022 was the year of creative courage. 2023 was the year of alignment and resonance, where your relationships would begin to reveal themselves, who's productive, who's unproductive, who really loves you, who really doesn't. You're going to start really having to take a stand and make decisions about who you're going to serve, who you're going to walk with, who you're going to team up with. And now we're moving into a place where this year Yahweh wants me to think about love, right? So as I move into love requires an object of that love. Love requires the who. Love requires the serving of people, and so how can I serve and be a better husband? How can I serve and be a better friend to my wife? What can I do better? And so this focus on this, and then the Lord walked me through all of this, the concept of what is serving. The Hebrew word for love is ahava, but the definition of it isn't just some kind of romantic thing. It's more of the concept is I will give, I will serve. I will give, I will serve. So in order to be uh, involved with the joy of serving or giving your life to someone, giving the best aspect of you, which is your love, which is your attention, your availability, your resources. All these things is just making it available. There's nothing that my daughter couldn't ask me for that I wouldn't do everything I could to give her. Right? Same thing with my wife. She asked me for something. I want to give that to her. I want to give that to her. And I want to do that for my church, for my people that come to me on a regular basis. I want to be able to have available to me when asked to be able to give it. And nobody teaches that more profoundly than Jesus, right? So when he says, if they ask for your coat, give it to them, right? And actually, if they ask for something, give it to them. Give them more than they ask for. If they ask you to walk a mile, walk two. If they hit you on one cheek, they're not kind about it, offer the other cheek. Offer the other cheek. And so you start to understand the teachings from the most powerful teacher who ever lived. And you start to understand that it demands things of you because it demands you to do what other people don't want to do or what you didn't want to do prior. And then all of a sudden, through this concept of service, you start to learn the long-term benefits of it. You start to see how deep faithfulness really is. You start to see how deep generosity really is. You start to see how deep gentleness really is. And it comes through serving. And how when you're quiet and by yourself, or when you watch a long-term friendship just come back to you, and how you may have had disappointments in that friendship over the years, or different disappointments in that relationship, how the joy comes back in spite of the scars, or in spite of the miscommunications or disappointments that may have occurred. You just start to see there's still good there. There's still fruit there. There's still development there. And then you look a little deeper and you see the power of what those people are able to do because you stayed in that relationship with them. You learned the joy of serving. But when you serve someone, you don't serve someone with a $20 bill or or a gift certificate somewhere, just so they can buy a book. No, you serve them until they can serve, and then they can teach someone else to serve. And then because you're really giving them love, you're giving them a deep, deep, satisfying skill set. And this is where the joy of serving comes in. And I want to kind of wrap this up because I'm going a little long. But the idea is, when you wake up in the morning with the why, it's going to take you to the who. And then once you meditate on the who, you're going to ask the person that you're thinking of how, because you want to serve them the way they want to be served. How? And then you're going to bring to bear the what and the when and the where, because the how all gets in. Well, what am I going to do? When are we going to do? We're going to put it on the schedule. Where are we going to meet? Where are we going to train? But you start with the why, then the who, and then you ask the question, how may, give me permission, please. We, because even though it's me sitting in front of you, I represent resources, my friendships, but the experts in my life that I certainly am not. Then serve, knowing that when I serve, I'm gonna get so much back. And then I'm gonna help you to articulate to me your individuality, your uniqueness, your personal dreams, your personal visions, your personal aspirations, the people, the who and the why in your life. So I know this was a lot. I'd love to hear your comments about this thought process and this teaching. Uh, communicate with me. Thanks for joining us at Morning Motivations with Dan Stratton. Tune in next week. And I got a lot of free stuff out there. All you got to let me know if you'd like some of this teaching in written form. Just let us know and we'll send it to you. God bless you, brother, sister, friends. Bye now.